I just had to break out the black turtleneck for this one because one thing about Capricorn Mars,
They mean business.
hola beautiful souls, welcome back or welcome to my channel where we use astrology, spirituality, and wellness as self-development tools to become our highest selves. If that sounds like something you're interested in, don't forget to subscribe before leaving, and you can follow me on Instagram for even more personal sides of my own journey. Today's video is all about having Mars in Capricorn, and what this means is at the time that you were born, Mars was moving through the zodiac constellation of Capricorn. It's very different from having sun sign in Capricorn. It is not the same. We're going to start with an introduction to Mars in astrology in case you're not familiar with what it means, and that'll give you a better understanding of everything else I talk about in the video. So be sure you watch that. Then we'll talk about some of the general traits of somebody who has this placement, and we'll finish the video with a couple empowering tips, because one thing about me, I don't like to just dump all the information on you. I like to give you some tools so you can better move forward with this information. First, let's briefly discuss what Mars means in astrology. First off, Mars is the planet of our quote-unquote animalistic instincts: action, ambition, desire, and passion. It rules over the zodiac sign Aries, but it's also the co-ruler and traditional ruler of Scorpio before Pluto came into the picture. The Mars placement in our birth chart can give us insight on how we physically take action in the world, what ignites our inner fire, and how we tame or transmute that fire into reality. Whereas Venus is about what we are attracted to in the physical realm, Mars is more so how we actually act on, pursue, and express those desires. It is the primary conductor of our innermost passions, and it gives us a direct pathway on how we assert ourselves in the world. Remember to check if Mars was retrograde at the time that you were born, because this also affects how its placement manifests in your life. When you pull up your natal chart, check to see if your Mars has a little R or RX next to it. This indicates that that planet was retrograde at the time of your birth. Now, for the general traits of somebody who has Mars in Capricorn. First, it's important to remember that Capricorn is the cardinal Earth sign, ruled by Saturn and symbolized by the goat. Number 1. This placement contains some of the most impressive endurance and steadfast ambition out there. Part of the reason for this is that Mars is exalted in this placement, meaning that the energy here is harmonious and amplified in the best way possible. Mars and Saturn balance each other and have beautiful synergy between their energies because Mars feeds its power and drive into disciplined, focused Saturn, creating someone who has unparalleled long-term endurance, especially when it comes to their material ambitions. When I think of a physical depiction of this synergy between Mars and Saturn, I automatically imagine a calm, contained, slow-burning, yet powerful fire. Not only does this person have incredible endurance and powerful ambition, but their composure, despite this powerful fire within, is almost intimidating. It's likely that when this person is feeling powerful, fiery emotions, like when they're angry, for example, no one will ever know, because those powerful flames are properly channeled through the contained, composed Capricorn energy. And even if someone with this placement were to act on that powerful emotion, it's highly unlikely that it would be very obvious. They're not the type to have like an outright emotional outburst most of the time. Obviously, everything I mentioned also depends on other placements in the birth chart. But for the most part, this person is very contained. So if they're going to act on a powerful emotion, they're probably going to do so in a more strategic, chess-like manner. And the reason for this is because Capricorn is the type of energy that loves to always be composed. They think that they're giving away their position of power or pride by showing too much of their emotions to people. It's kind of showing a vulnerability to people that they don't necessarily feel that vulnerable with, or they don't feel open with, and they don't like that. They like to make sure that they always appear in control, no matter how they feel on the inside. So rather than being directly emotional to someone, it's likely that they might just turn stone cold towards somebody. Or like I said, they'll take a more strategic approach to getting what they want. And it's actually this contained demeanor that can give them a very alluring aura, kind of similar to a Scorpio's. This naturally more aloof and mysterious way of going about their lives tends to draw the curiosity of others. Number 2, this placement usually has an unparalleled work ethic and often takes pride in their ability to accomplish and achieve. Capricorn is one of the cardinal signs, meaning that they often take initiative and naturally lead in some way. With Capricorn Mars, this energy is only enhanced to create an individual that cannot be stopped, literally. In fact, to prove this point, some of the most renowned celebrities, entrepreneurs, and athletes have this placement. Now, there are a lot of celebrities with a lot of different Mars placements, but those that have Capricorn Mars are known as some of the most hardworking, dedicated people out there. To name a few, we have Lady Gaga, Nicki Minaj, Tyrese Gibson, and Jeff Bezos. Yes, Jeff Bezos, everybody. That is how you know this placement is no joke when it comes to being the best of the best and perfecting the craft that they've dedicated to. These are definitely the type of individuals that you don't want to be your competitor unless you're a stickler for like super stiff competition and you enjoy that. Now, for a team member, this is like the golden team member that you want on your side. Not only do they apply this mentality to jobs and material success, but you can definitely see this mentality in their personal relationships as well. One thing about this placement is that they're quite good at managing their time, energy, and routine is very valuable to them. So they don't like to waste their valuable time and energy. They see time and energy as gold currency to having the life that they want. And they aren't going to waste it if they don't deem you worthy of that time and that energy. But if they do deem you worthy of that, then this work ethic, this pride that they have in their ability to be the best of the best will channel itself into your personal relationship. They will definitely go to great lengths for you, like unimaginable lengths for you if you have reached that status with them. Number 3, they're the type to often stand on their decisions, words, actions, and beliefs unapologetically. Capricorn is one of the earth signs, meaning that while they can be quite grounded and loyal, they can also have a rigid, stubborn streak. For Capricorn Mars, this can heavily channel itself into this person's personal motivations in life, such as their own values. Although Capricorn energy is often quite intelligent and resourceful, they're not always the most open-minded individuals if something challenges a value or a piece of knowledge that they are certain about. Of course, this is not necessarily a bad thing. It all depends on how it is channeled and handled. But the way that I view this trait is ultimately it gives them the type of unapologetic streak that they need to go on the roads less traveled, to take the less beaten path that others are afraid to take. And that is extremely powerful for them. And that is because they are not usually afraid to stand for what they believe in. They're not afraid to be vocal about it. Oftentimes, they're very unapologetic about it as well. Going back to personal relationships, this is another reason this is the type of person that you want on your side, because they are willing to have your back and defend you until the very end, because they are not afraid of what other people have to say or think about it. And that brings in the very stubborn yet loyal trait that tends to be true for all of the earth signs. Number 4, they tend to thrive in just about any situation meant to bring them down. Capricorn is traditionally represented by the sea goat because this represents their ability to traverse any terrain that they come across, whether it be water or mountains. It's in this way that Capricorn Mars can also find immense success because ultimately no obstacle can truly stop them. It may only slow them down before they get right back on track. As we mentioned before, Capricorn is also ruled by Saturn, often considered the disciplinarian of astrology. but it is also known as one of the karmic planets of astrology. And this is because since it is the disciplinarian planet, it often brings a lot of experiences to our plate that are very, very challenging, but they cause necessary personal growth. The necessary personal growth for us to become that much better and that much closer to achieving the things that we want, to being the person that we want to be. With that in mind, Capricorn Mars is directly connected to this karmic energy of Saturn. And because we are talking about Mars, the more physical planet here, we can see this energy take place in actual physical events in their lives. It's not unlikely that a Capricorn Mars has faced a lot of tumultuous, extreme obstacles in their lives, a lot of extreme hardships that others may not even be able to imagine. Again, quite similar to the energy of Scorpio, especially Mars in Scorpio. There can be a similar type of energy here because of that connection to Saturn. And oftentimes, these are the type of situations that if they were to tell somebody about them, people would not be able to understand how the heck they overcame them, and not just overcame them, but also made it monetizable, like they made money off of that challenge. Or two, they became immensely successful, they became popular, they became a celebrity, etc. after such a challenge that seemed like it should have tore their entire world apart. But once again, this placement often takes a lot of pride in their ability to overcome and to achieve what they set their minds to. And their challenges in life are no different. Like I said, Capricorn likes to feel in control, at least appear in control, even if they feel chaotic within. To them, to let something defeat them is not acceptable. Like, that is absolutely unacceptable to their character because they are the ones who overcome and win in the end. And to them, that is not a question. Their mind is made up to be that person that overcomes and wins no matter what happens to them. So a lot of times, these challenging experiences they face are only the necessary transformative experiences to make them that much better and that much more powerful and that much more of a force to be reckoned with in the world. They really know how to transmute these challenges into something beneficial to their own lives. And that is solely because these types of transformative challenges that take place are the type of challenges that mold a person into someone who is so likely to find fulfillment and success in their own lives because they know what the depths feel like and they know how to get out of the depths. So now they are prepared for anything. Now for a couple empowering tips for somebody who has this placement or if you know someone who does. Number one, they may put too much weight on their own shoulders at all times, feeling pressure to always be on. Like I said, this person really values their ability to overcome, to achieve, to win, and to always look like they are in control and they have the upper hand. And even though this is very admirable, and I could definitely learn something from this placement, as many of us could, this can also, just like anything, be a double-edged sword and can be their downfall if they're not careful. Don't get me wrong, work ethic is incredible, productivity is incredible, and I wish I had the amount of sustainable energy that this placement is naturally, oftentimes blessed with. However, you need to sometimes be off. You cannot always be on.
It is just not sustainable.
Even though you may always look like you're fine, and you may always look like you have things under control and like you're thriving, there has to be moments where you allow yourself to not be thriving, where you allow yourself to actually process what is happening in your life, the emotions you felt, the experiences you've had. Not everything can be, okay, what's the next step? What's the next move? What's the next way I can make profit from this? Not everything can always be about that, okay? And I know that you love your routines, and routines are healthy and a much needed part of life. But take some time to break away from routine and do something that brings you purely joy. This placement can potentially struggle with returning to joyful things in their lives rather than things that provide some type of logical or monetary benefit. Instead of worrying about the accolades for once, what makes you happy? For everyone watching this video, it's going to be different. But what is some hobby or something that maybe provides no actual monetary benefit to your life or no physical benefit, but brings you emotional fulfillment? This emotional fulfillment is actually quite productive if you think about it, because it re-inspires you and reignites you to continue moving forward with the things that you're doing, with all the hard work you're putting into your goals. It helps keep that passion alive because you are infusing your life with joy. Start thinking about that. Think about what hobby you want to return to that brings light into your life, makes you feel relieved from all the stress, and is actually able to help you relax for once. Is it reading fiction books? Is it drawing? Is it painting? Is it doing puzzles? What is it? Is it knitting? I don't know. The possibilities are endless, but I highly recommend taking up something, some type of hobby, and reintroducing it back into your routine so that way you bring that relaxation and joy back into your life. Number 2, this placement may be the type to lean more towards pessimism. Now, although this is a type of person that, like we talked about, can achieve quite a lot, and they can really turn their challenges into benefits, into drive, into ambition, and then therefore turn those challenges into success in the long run. Even though they are more than capable of doing that, they can still be quite pessimistic, or I guess maybe a little too realistic at times. Something Capricorn is known for is being a little bit condescending, or just a little condescending. That's the best word for it. And it's because they can lean a little towards pessimism or a little bit towards doubt when it comes to a lot of things. And this kind of plays into the previous empowerment tip a little bit, because reinfusing your life with inspiration means reinfusing it with a little bit of magic. And maybe that sounds a little silly to some of you watching this, but life in general, even though us as humans are so intelligent and we have created a lot of logical explanations for most stuff, those explanations are just us trying to make sense of things that are magical, things that are hard to explain. And even now, science is constantly evolving because we discover new theories about the things we thought we knew. But ultimately, we don't know anything. And sometimes this pessimism from this placement can come from that feeling that they know what they know and that's it. And they're doubtful of other things, or they're condescending towards other things. But again, you can actually reinfuse your life with more inspiration and more spark if you're more open-minded to what's out there and not so quick to shut it down and be pessimistic. Be more open-minded to the magic of what life holds. And by doing this, you can actually open yourself up to more potential paths that lead to success. I recommend, again, this is going to be very different for everybody, but what I can say is maybe you can start looking into something that you've kind of turned your nose up towards. Maybe start looking towards those things and become curious about things that you shunned before or that you looked down upon. You never know, it might lead you to new creativity and new inspiration for whatever it is that you're pursuing. Or maybe you're looking for love, because this placement can tend to be very productive or productivity focused, and they can move away from emotions if they're not careful. So what can bring you back into the magical world of love and emotions, whether that's self-love, love for others, whatever it may be, whatever is intuitively resonating with you when you hear me saying this, go for that. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos like this one. And be sure that you leave a comment down below if you're a Capricorn Mars or know somebody who is. I love to know who's watching, and I love to learn from your personal experience with this placement, because I'm always learning too, so share your experience below. But until I see you in the next video, you can watch these videos if you haven't already. They will help you even more on your astrological, spiritual, and self-development journey to becoming your highest self. But again, until I see you next time, thank you so much for being here. Adios.